Welcome back to the Huddle on 840 Fox Sports Radio. Thanks for making us part of your Saturday. Thanks to Jake Berry, Joe Filoteo, and Chris Finch. He is the head coach of the Great Britain national basketball team, joining us first hour. Jumping into the second hour, we are joined by Juan Castillo. He is the defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, and he's part of the show. Coach Castillo, good morning, sir. How are you?
Morning. Doing well. How y'all doing?
Doing very well. Are you still in the Valley? Because I know that every now and then you'll make the trip down and you'll bring the family to spend some time down here.
Yeah, we're on the way now. We're just entering. We're driving into Kingsville right now. We left this morning. We were down there for a week.
Very nice. We took care of you. We treated you right?
Yep, very nice.
Coach, help me along the way. Make sure that I've got each one of your steps covered. You played high school ball at Port Isabel. You were at Texas A&I Kingsville, Texas A&I. Yep. Then went on to the USFL, the San Antonio Roughriders, and then made your way to the NFL.
Right. Well, then I coached at Texas A&I. Then I went and coached in high school. Then I went back to A&I, and then from A&I, coaching at A&I, I went to the NFL.
You know, Coach, 2 weeks ago we were joined by Caleb Canales, who is a Laredo native. He's the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers, and his story is very similar to yours. You guys did a lot of what we call the grunt work and did a lot of free work in order to reach the position that you're at now, right?
Right. I didn't even know that. I'm gonna have to look him up. You know.
Well, I'll gladly put you guys together because he's one of these. He's a 35-year-old head coach in the NBA, so we'll definitely put you guys together.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Coach, talk to me about your travels along the way and the different steps and how it's changed from then to now.
Well, you know what? When I first got rehired, and I was playing in the USFL, I was playing in the spring. So I would coach in the fall at A&I. Then I went on to high school and was a defensive coordinator at Kingsville High School. And then what happened to me was that the head coach at A&I was trying to hire me back, and the only position he had open was offensive line coach. So what happened is when he hired me as offensive line coach, I didn't know anything about the position, but that's how I ended up getting the opportunity to coach in the NFL. What I did is I found 7 guys, 5 of them in the NFL, 7 of the top line coaches in the country, and I started to go visit them. And I visited them every year for the next 5 years. And you know what ended up happening is people get to know what kind of person you are. They get to know your work. You know, after a couple of years, I started bringing back video of, you know, you wanted to show them that what they were teaching you, you were teaching your guys. And really, that's how, you know, what started happening. Those guys, after the 3rd year, 4th year, those guys all of a sudden started throwing my name out. You know, I would get calls, you know, from places that I didn't even try to interview for jobs. You know, I was just trying to get my guys the best they could be. And really, those guys that I went to study from were the guys that ended up helping me get a job in the NFL.
So you went from being a linebacker in the USFL and a defensive coach to coach in the O-line and break it into the NFL that way.
Yep, that's right.
So this past year, your transition to as the defensive coordinator of the Eagles, was that a pleasant thing for you? Was that something that you were like, good, now I'm back on my original side of the ball? Or
Well, you know, I wanted to get back on defense, you know, and it just, you know, it was just hard because, you know, I had done a good job. In Coach's eyes, I had done a good job. You see how I said that, right?
I did.
That's important. In Coach's eyes, I had done a good job coaching the line, so he didn't want to lose me as an offensive line coach. So, you know, because our coach, Jim Johnson, had lost, you know, he has 4 guys that were on his staff on the defensive side that are head coaches right now. So I was trying to get on that side of the ball, you know, but it was hard, and finally, you know, Coach Reed let me get on that side of the ball.
And he gave you the opportunity.
That's right. That's right.
How has the transition back to defense been for you?
Well, you know what? I think all the, you know, the Valley, you know, there's a lot of good coaches down in the Valley, and I think when I say this, they all understand this, but to be a good offensive coach, you have to understand defense. To be a good defensive coach, you have to understand offense. So really, it works hand in hand. You know, I mean, all defensive coaches know something about offense. All offensive coaches know something about defense. The same thing with me was that I was really a defensive coach that had to learn how to coach offense. And now the good thing is I'm going back to what I did, and I learned a lot of things about offense. So in a way, you know, I think it better prepared me to be hopefully, you know, to do our job and win games.
Juan Castillo is the defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, and he is a Port Isabel native joining us here in the Huddle on 840 Fox Sports Radio.
Coach, you're lucky enough there at Philadelphia to have Michael Vick as the quarterback, so as a defensive coordinator, you don't have to prepare for a guy like that. Who is a quarterback in the league that it just racks your brain that you just got to sit down and come up with a game plan, someone that you really have to game plan for in the NFL?
Well, really, you know what I'm going to tell you is that every team in the NFL is very good. Anybody can beat you on any given day. So, you know, every week of preparation is big. Every week is intense. You know, there's really no such thing as, this team's easy or this, or you look at the schedule and say, you know what, this is a team that's going to be easier. I mean, it doesn't happen like that. If you do that, and you know, that's how upsets happen. That's how,
right.
You know, so, you don't do that in the NFL. Anybody can beat anybody. So, really, to answer your question, is every quarterback you treat as the best quarterback there is that week.
Yeah, because they, like you said, I mean, there's not really ever any blowouts, and as a defensive coordinator, defense does win championships, and so with these 1 or 2 5-point games, a lot of times in the NFL on Sundays, the defense is relied on to make some huge plays.
Right. You know, the only thing that you do as a coach is you try to develop a philosophy. You know, our philosophy is we have a good pass rush, so our coverage, we play tight coverage. We play, you know, a man-match concept in the zone, and so we try to create tight coverage to make the quarterback hold the ball.
And you have the luxury of having a couple of good defensive backs back there as well, right?
Right. But just understand that everybody got players in the NFL, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, every team got a lot of good players, you know?
If it was easy, Rick and I would be on the field.
Exactly.
You know, what happens is that, you know, with the draft, you know, and the way they do the draft, you know, usually the teams that have the worst records always draft first, so that's giving people an opportunity to get better, you know. And right now, I think in the NFL, you can see that, I mean, the Giants, you know, the Giants barely got in, and they won the Super Bowl, so there's a lot of parity right now in the NFL.
And just in the division that you even play in is so tough in the NFC East, and now with the quarterbacks like Eli Manning and Tony Romo, and then now they add RG3 there in Washington, and here's a guy that's that's going to be a really tight where your defense comes into play with another kind of dynamic guy that a lot of people don't know about when his rookie season coming up.
Right, and you know, you talk about Michael Vick, he's probably a guy that's probably similar to Michael, you know. I mean, a very athletic, talented, smart young man, you know.
Coach, it was funny. We were having a discussion off the air as we were running through the Cowboys schedule here. What is a tougher division, the NFC East or the AFC North?
Well, I tell you, they're both tough. You know, I mean, you know what? I get those questions at home all the time, but you know, I wish I could say every week is intense. You know, there's not a week where you say, okay. I mean, it's
except when you play Cleveland, then you get to go. It's almost like a bye week.
No, that's, you know, because there's a lot of factors. You know, turnovers.